6. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the most awesomest homesteading channel on the entire planet that has absolutely nothing to do with homesteading. Homesteading off the grid. You like my necklace? I was making sure you could see that, what's supposed to be a shark tooth and the basalt, what's supposed to be some basalt beads, because that's part of the story. Listen, I hate you. I literally hate you. You better watch this video before it gets deleted, because it's going to be filled with hate speech. Well, who are we going to hate on? Oh, we're going to hate on everybody. Yeah. So, but I will point out that this is take 2, because I just started the video, and then here comes my son up the hill on a mountain bike to hang out. So I stopped and hung out with him for about 20 minutes, and he wanted to go back to the house. So let me show you my view. Yeah, and get my 6. What that means is look behind me, because you never know who or what may or may not show up in these videos. But I'm up here at the campground. There's the hill. We've got trails going all the way around the property. That's where we sleigh ride in the winter. There's our campfire wood. Look at this. Isn't this beautiful? This was a hay field when we bought it almost 8 years ago. And now the meadow, it went from a hay field to a meadow, and now it's becoming a forest with these mature trees. Here's our campfire pit. That's our Bigfoot Sasquatch field observation blind down there. But just a beautiful view. So I'm up here, and I'm thinking about hate, and I'm going to talk to you about hate. But this is not just the campground anymore, but it's become, as of late, my art studio. Yeah, I'm still doing the colored pencil things. Let me show you a couple of my latest creations, and then I'm going to tell you who I hate and why. And it has to do with this. What is this? Oh, look at that! It's a little robin egg I found. So I wanted to come up here and draw and or make a YouTube video, but I just didn't feel inspired. So I got my art supplies, and I told my wife, well, you know, my beautiful bride, Dearly, aka Giggly Girl. So, well, I'll just go up and maybe I'll find inspiration. And here it is. And now I'm looking at 2 hawks flying up there. Look. Can you see it? Isn't that beautiful? Hi, hawk. There's one, and there's the other. I think maybe there are a couple. I don't know. Hope you saw them. I got the... But this is my view, brah. You're going to understand why I'm so hateful. But this inspired me. So what I'm going to draw is I'm going to actually draw a robin's egg. That's what this is. And then, and it inspired this video. Maybe they're not mates. Maybe they hate each other. So, this egg, by the way, listen, a lot of times birds just plop out eggs because they don't realize they're getting ready to have an egg. And you find them everywhere. I've got some barn swallows nesting and sitting on some eggs in my woodshed. I will put this in there when she's not there. And she may sit on this and hatch it. That works sometimes. And before you say, oh, it's because of the motherly instincts. No, it's not. Because let me tell you about a bird called a cowbird, the American cowbird. They're brown with black heads. They intentionally lay their eggs in other birds' nests, and other birds hatch out the cowbirds and raise them until they can fly away. So where's the cowbird's motherly instincts? Let me tell you, that's crap. That's a fairy tale. There are mothers out there who hate their children. I've got one. All right, so listen, it's called borderline personality disorder. They'll love one, but then hate the rest. So anyway, let me get on with my artwork and then talk about all this hate. So I drew a candle. What do you think? First attempt at a candle. And then I've been working on fruit, and I wanted to draw some blueberries, and I finally finished those yesterday. I'll show you these. Oh, that's upside down. Pumpkin, leaf, apple. That apple looks like you could eat it, no? Somebody emailed me, several of you have emailed me and said that I'm doing really good for a beginner. Thank you for that. Here's my fruit. So I've drawn the pear and the banana, and here's my blueberries. I drew these yesterday. What do you think? Yep. And I'm just doing this stuff with Crayolas. Yeah, we got like a 50 pack, 50 different colors of Crayolas for $9.99 at Staples. Not sponsored. But I'm getting ready to step up to a higher quality because I am sticking with it. I am taking it seriously. I mean, look. And so after I make this video, I'm going to make this. So what's this have to do with hate, hatred? I'm in this beautiful area, just spent quality time with my son. I'm watching hawks flying overhead, and I'm just spending my time drawing pictures. Well, let me tell you who I hate. I don't hate anybody. I don't even hate this guy racing by in front of my house on his dirt bike for like the 50th time in the last hour, making all this noise out here in the peaceful country. Because I actually know him. He's one of my neighbors. I like him. He's a good young man. He's in his mid-20s. Great guy. And he's actually a motocross racer. So I don't hate him, and I don't hate that noise. He's doing what he loves, and I love it. Love to see people doing what they love, because when they do that, they can't be filled with hate. So here's who I hate. No one. Why? Why not? Why don't I? Somebody's got, like the Bon Jovi song says, right? Keep the faith. Everybody needs somebody to love. Everybody needs somebody to hate. Right? No, I don't. You know why? Here's why. Because it takes the same amount of energy to hate someone as it does to love them. Okay? So let's say there's somebody out there that has wronged me, that just really did me wrong. Took my money, took my kids even. I've had that happen. Killed my buddies in a war zone. Do I hate them? Nope. Because it takes just as much energy to hate those people as it takes to love somebody. And why would I give the same amount of energy that I give to my son or to my wife to somebody that I don't like? Because that's what you're doing. Listen, folks, this is called emotional intelligence. So why am I talking about this today? It has to do with an image that I saw on the internet today. Scary place to be. But you know, I'm a social media content creator. They call it influencer. That's what they call it. I don't. I call it a social media content creator. Influencer, that's a term created by the social media companies to try to make the people that do what I do feel more important than we really are. Like, and Gen Z's bought into it. You see these smoking hot 20-year-old girls like showing everything on there, and they go around bragging they're influencers. You're not influencing anybody, honey. You're a social media content creator, and people will check you out for a few seconds and they'll just scroll on past. And what floors me is they'll listen to an old guy like me with like his skin, like my neck's hanging off my neck, but I get way more views and make buttloads more money than those smoking hot. Because listen, it's about facing reality, and it's about understanding life. So the image I saw on the internet today that inspired this talk was an image of two what appeared to be two very lovely women, probably in their late 60s, early 70s, and they were clinging to each other, and they were smiling, and I saw that, and I just felt like a feeling of peace come over me. But they were holding up signs, and I read the signs, and they said something to the effect of jail, incarcerate the crook Trump, or something like that. So the context of the image was that these women were standing outside of a courthouse where former President Donald Trump is being tried on, I think, 34 criminal counts, felonies, I think. I don't watch much news. And listen, I'm going to talk about some political topics today, but I'm not political. Understand that. But it's important to understand the point I'm trying to make about hate. So they're outside the courthouse. They want Donald Trump to go to prison. And that's when it occurred to me that these two women, there's not anything peaceful really about them. They're bitter, and they are full of hatred and rage, and they're highly toxic. Now, do I say that because I'm defending former President Donald Trump? Absolutely not. It has nothing to do with him. It has to do with these two women. What it has to do with is that if you can only find peace and joy and camaraderie while hoping that something terribly bad happens to someone else, you're effed up. You're toxic, and you're filled with rage. And listen, I'm going to take the other side here too. I'm not picking on these, what do they call themselves, progressive liberals who claim to be woke or whatever, awake, who don't realize they're so asleep. I'm going to pick on the other side too, okay, here in a minute. I'm going to tell you a story, and I've told it a couple of times on this channel. My wife, my beautiful bride, Dearly, aka Giggly Girl. And the reason I call her that is because so many people, that triggers people. People hate me because they'll leave comments in the comment section. Why do you call your wife that? Why can't you just... Really? That's why. It flusters some people, and I'm like a man brat. So my beautiful bride, Dearly, aka Giggly Girl, and myself and our son, Daniel, happened to be in Washington, D.C. the day that the media announced that Joe Biden had won the last election. We were at DuPont Circle having dinner. Well, we were driving into D.C. We had to be in D.C. because my wife had to do something. She had to get her green card renewed, or she had her interview for whatever, the next process in her legal obtainment of citizenship. And she's close to becoming a citizen. She's about a month away from actually sitting for her citizenship exam. And she's so excited because she loves America. For those of you who don't know, she's from the Philippines. So we get into town. We check into our hotel room. We're at DuPont Circle having dinner at this wonderful Greek restaurant. And DuPont Circle's like a mile away from the White House, I think. If that, 3/4 of a mile. So we see all these people running down the street, celebrating, they're cheering, you know. And I told my family, I said, we should walk to the White House after we have dinner, just to experience this. And again, we're not political. So it's not that we were happy that Biden won. It's not that we were happy that Trump lost. It's not that we were upset that Biden won or that Trump lost. We don't care. We, honest to God, don't care. And so many people have a hard time believing that. I've had people try to pin me down to find out what my opinion of the matters of the day are. I will often take the opposite view of them just to piss them off because they've pissed me off because they're demanding that I be toxic like them. Because listen, people who are obsessed with politics, they're not political, they're toxic. And it's an easy argument. You want to argue with somebody? Talk about anything political. You're going to have yourself an argument. All right, so we just don't do it. I'd rather draw pictures of fruit that looks so real, you want to just grab it off the paper and eat it. That's the first colored pencil apple I ever drew. I'm following tutorials. There's this beautiful young lady that has a YouTube channel called Arts Core. She does it step by step and talks you through it and tells you what color she's using. So that's how I'd rather spend my time instead of watching politics. So anyway, we walked down to the White House to just experience this, right? It was scary. We ended up, we got to the White House, but we ended up getting out of there quicker than we thought we would because of the hate. We realized quickly the majority of the people there celebrating were not celebrating that their guy won. They were celebrating that the fact that the guy they hated lost. They were holding up signs that said, "Hate has no home here." They were holding up signs that said, "No place for hate," while they were screaming, "F you, Donald Trump. F you, Donald Trump supporters. Stay in the woods. Go back up the hollow." They would, because they're from D.C. They're not from Appalachia like me. We all know it might be spelled hollow, but it's pronounced holler. Got to push the button. Okay, so anyway. Yeah. So a lot of folks who claim hate has no place anywhere on the planet are filled with nothing but hatred and rage. But now I said I was going to talk about the other side of the coin, and I'm going to right now. And this is probably going to get me canceled if everything I just said doesn't get me canceled. I can't believe I'm still a social media content creator. Can you believe that? They still let me on here. Maybe they feel sorry for me because I'm like all old and stuff. So then I'll get to the necklace. I got this in the Philippines this winter. We spent 5 months in the freaking Philippines sitting on beaches, brah. It's like, why am I going to stay glued to a legacy media channel telling me who to hate when I can do that? You know what I mean? So, so we hear a lot in the news about police officers shooting and killing unarmed black men. We hear a lot in the news about police officers beating up, unarmed black men. I'm from Appalachia. I grew up in West by God, Virginia. And listen, do I support law enforcement? I support the good people in law enforcement. I support people who are willing to put their life on the line to protect mine, who don't pull any shenanigans on anybody because of their race, their religion, their sexual orientation, none of that. You're out there defending the law, defending the people. Amen. I absolutely support you. If you're a dirtbag, no, I don't. And there are dirtbags in all professions. You can't just listen. I'm an artist. I don't paint much. I kind of have, but I suck at it. I'm doing better with this. But you can't just paint the whole world with a broad brush. And so therefore you can't say, oh, I hate cops. Cops are all evil. And you can't also say, let's support the cops, because there's some out there that are doing these things. Well, having said that I'm from Appalachia, what I can tell you is that I know of many, 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 many instances where police have shot and killed unarmed white men, beaten the living hell out of unarmed white men, copped up charges, pun intended, fake charges on unarmed white people in Appalachia, but you never hear about it. Now, why is that? Well, because it doesn't get clicks. Okay, I work in social media. I used to be a journalist. I used to work in media. We're paid by views. We're paid based upon interactions, shares, likes, emojis, comments. So give some thumbs up and all that stuff. And if you write a story or make a news broadcast about a couple of cops beating up some white guy, it's just not going to get the clicks. No one cares. But when you make it an issue of race, man, you rile everybody up and you get them fighting, right? True story. One of my oldest friends, he's a 50-year-old man, going to be 51 this August. Talked about him the other day in a video. We've been best of friends since the first time he beat me up on the school bus in kindergarten. We were 5 years old. Back then, kids were allowed to work things out. We went back and forth, beating each other up a few times, and we finally said, why are we spending all this time fighting? Let's just be friends. Been friends for 45 years, okay? He was at a bar years ago in Appalachia. Not too long ago. It was less than 10 years ago. He was drunk, and he was being belligerent. The bartender told him to leave. He didn't want to leave. So the bartender called the local cop. And the cop, it's a small town. The cop actually lived in the next town over. There was nobody on duty. It was like 2 a.m. So the cop says, put him on the phone. So my friend gets on the phone. The cop says, if I have to get out of bed to come over there to get you out of that bar, I'm going to, kick your, behind. I'm going to mess you up. And so my buddy says, F you, gives the cop back to the owner, and he just leaves, right? He goes home. Was my friend in the wrong? Absolutely. He shouldn't have been acting like that. So he goes home, and he's sitting on his front porch about an hour later, drinking more beer, smoking some cigarettes, right? Hey, he knows how to have a good time. Here the cop pulls up in his yard, gets out of his car, comes up on the porch. My friend stands up and says, what are you doing here? Cop grabs him, throws him against the wall, and starts beating the living daylights out of him, screaming, stop resisting, stop resisting. Cuffs him, then drags him on his back to the cop car, takes him to the regional jail, and charges him with drunken and disorderly conduct, claims that this altercation took place in the bar. Said so he confronted him in the bar, said he resisted arrest in the bar, and so the cop, had to use force to get him in cuffs in the bar. All right? Well, guess what? The next day, his mother, who is retired and living happily ever after in Virginia, the mother state, goes and bails him out at regional jail, and he gets in the car, and he starts to tell her what happened, and she says, don't worry, I've got the whole thing on video. Because they had cameras everywhere. She was watching it happen from her home in Virginia. All charges were dropped. My friend sued the city and won. That cop will never serve in law enforcement again, thank God. And my friend, just last summer, finished building a brand new 3,000 square foot house on his beach, close to the beach property in North Carolina, and paid cash for all of it with what he won from that civil rights lawsuit settlement. Didn't hear about that one in the news, did you? And it happens every other week. But no one cares because they can't rile up the masses and pit certain groups of people against other certain groups of people, you know? Like the incident less than a year ago. 5 black police officers in Tennessee beat an unarmed black man so badly that he would later succumb to and die from his injuries in a hospital. So you don't hear much about that. And because that makes the concern become what it should be. Is there an issue with law enforcement and training? And it's not about race so much as it is about militarization of the modern American police force. Now, is it? So, wow, am I still here? Am I still on social media? Can you believe I'm saying all this stuff? So I have a sister who is a psychiatrist, and a good one. She grew up with me. She's actually really good. She was once the head of a department that oversaw about 40 psychiatrists at the largest university hospital in the state where she lives. It's not Virginia, but that would be the equivalency of like UVA. Could you imagine if you're a head of the psych department at UVA Hospital in Charlottesville? That's what my sister was the equivalency of. But she is now even higher than that somewhere else, and I'm not going to say. But I asked her, because she really understands human behavior and the way people think, right? And I said to her, and this is about police, I said, you know, we grew up in West Virginia, and we've seen some bad police. We've seen some wonderful police do a wonderful job for their entire term of service, up until retirement, just do a wonderful job. Never hurt anybody that wasn't deserving of being hurt. You know, that buddy I was just talking about, his grandfather used to be a sheriff, and he treated people with dignity. When he went to arrest somebody, he made sure, hey, you got to go to the bathroom. Are you hungry? Do you got anything here you need to kind of settle up here that you can do quickly within the next half hour or so before, we got to do what we got to do? Yeah. Not anymore. Now it's like, oh, you pissed me off on a phone call. Stop resisting. But not all of them, right? Just some of the dirtbags. But I asked my sister, why do so many people paint with a broad brush and say all police officers are all good, and these people that get shot and killed and beaten by the police, if they just would say yes sir or no sir, it would never happen, all that? Because we know it's crap. And also, on the reverse of that, why is it that the media just always says, police like to harass people of color, when the fact is we know they'll harass anybody that they know can't afford an attorney, or that they think can't afford an attorney, because it makes them easy targets. It's like a bully mentality, right? For those that are bad. Not the good ones. The good ones would never do that, but the bad ones will. And she told me, she says, Kevin, it's because of hate. She says, listen, you and I know that, cops in Appalachia, where like everybody's white, at least the part where we came from, beat and kill unarmed white people all the time. But these very people, poor whites in Appalachia, will support the cops 100% when it comes to the beating or killing of an unarmed black man because they're racist. Yes, they're not claiming to support law enforcement because they support law enforcement. They're claiming to support law enforcement because they're racist. Just like those tolerant, progressive liberals that we saw in D.C., and I saw their picture in the news today on the internet, who hold up signs that claim hate has no place here, no room for hate. Will talk about how much they hate Donald Trump and how much they hate anybody that supports him. Yeah. Hey, we live right outside of the People's Republic of Charlottesville, Virginia. Virginia is like a red state with 2 little islands of blue, Charlottesville and Loudoun County, Northern Virginia, right outside of D.C. We have literally met people in this area who hate us and refuse to speak to us or look at us or say hi, not because we supported Donald Trump, because we're not political, but because we wouldn't claim to hate him. And they believe that if you refuse to hate Donald Trump, then you clearly support him, and I hate you. While they put up signs in their yards that say hate has no home here. Folks, it's stupid. It's stupid. So, this necklace. Let me explain the necklace and the bird egg. You know what I'm going to do with this? Because this is where hate starts. Right here. You know, they say that if you're a pregnant mother, play music to your baby, it'll soothe it. Read to your baby before it's born, your unborn baby, okay? Read it books so it will get used to story time and it will develop a love for reading. Oh, that's true. So it really starts here. It starts before they even come out, okay? And then in the household, as you're raising your child, if you're sitting in front of that legacy media channel all day long saying, I hate Donald Trump, or I hate people who hate Donald Trump, taking a reverse view, that little baby that came out of you before it's even started grade school is learning to hate. Regardless of the issue, regardless of the things you disagree with, why you choose to hate that other person, kids learn to hate. And we can do the best we can in our homes to protect what comes out of these little eggs. But then they'll go out into society. They go to school. Now, our son is homeschooled now, and we're loving it. We are absolutely loving it. We were able to spend our winter in the Philippine Islands because he's doing this homeschool thing online. It's like a virtual thing, just like they did during COVID. And during COVID, I said to my wife, I said to my beautiful bride, Dearly, a.k.a. Giggly Girl, I said, we should never send our kid back to school. I've got another sister, different than the one I talked about earlier, the psychiatrist. Another one, she's a teacher. She taught in public schools for 15 years. Guess what? She's a virtual classroom teacher now for a private company, making twice as much money as she ever made as a public school teacher. She didn't waste her time trying to start a union. You know who does that? Toxic people who like to argue. She's like, I'm worth more than this. I can get it over here. I'm gone. She didn't waste the better years, the best years of her working career demanding a pay raise she knew she was never going to get. She just went somewhere else and made more money because she's smart like that. Crazy runs in the family. But crazy runs in the family. Well, there's that too. Thought I heard a Bigfoot Sasquatch sneaking up on me. Keep watching, people. All right, so what was my point of that? Oh, yeah, public school. So we're finally homeschooling our kid. And last year, though, I want to tell you, this is what was one of the things that was like, if this wasn't a red light to tell me, pull your kid out in piss poor public school systems in America, which are not even safe to go to anymore. The violence, the bullying, geez, gun attacks, all this stuff. Teachers, especially for some reason, something about middle school and high school female teachers preying on your teenage sons. It's crazy. You see something about that every day. So anyway, my son's walking down the hall last year in his middle school. The guidance counselor pulls him into the office and says, oh, hey, don't worry. You're not in trouble or anything. I just want to chat with you. You know, I like to get to know all my students. He's like, okay. She goes, so what's it like going to school with all these white kids? He's like, huh? She's like, well, aren't you biracial? He's like, well, yeah, my mom's Filipino, so I guess I'm like half Asian. He says, but my dad's white, and so I'm half white too. She's like, and she saw that he wasn't going to take the bait and try to claim that anybody ever treated him any differently because of his ethnicity or whatever race. And she said, oh, okay, well, hey, I'm glad everything's going well for you. You can go to class or wherever. So when they come out of the egg, when they come out of your body, you can do the best you can at home, but even then you got to worry about when they go off to school or they go out into society. That teacher was trying to convince him, or that guidance counselor at a public school, I'm pretty confident was trying to convince him, wanted him to get in the mindset of thinking that if anything ever didn't go his way or if anybody ever treated him any differently, it was because he was different, which he's never felt that he was. And most kids don't, unless you point it out to them, you know what I mean? What's that meme that goes around Facebook say? You don't want your kids to be racist? Stop telling them that they are. You know what I'm saying? This was like the inverse of that, trying to tell him that, you know, it's just sickening. It's sickening. So we pulled him out, and he's homeschooled now. He does virtual school. And, you know, he gets his socialization through sports. You know, we're active in sports. We do football in the spring, flag football in the spring, football in the fall, basketball in the winter. Of course, this winter we're in the Philippines where he was surrounded with loving family members. And and then he's got friends. He's having one of his friends over this weekend for the whole weekend. He's usually on a weekend. He's either one of his friends' places or they're over here. But folks, it's just gotten to the point to where it's ridiculous. So let me tell you about the necklace. This is a funny story. So I lived in the Philippines for almost 6 years straight once. And there was a lot about it I didn't like, a lot of the culture, still to this day. But I refused to hate the people. I wrote a book called The Isle of Capri. It's available in print or Kindle on Amazon, or you can buy an autographed copy from our Kindle, no, not Kindle, but our Etsy store. The link to both places is in the description box below. And listen, I'm going to talk about the skin tax, something else that's going to get me canceled if I'm still here. Am I still on social media? Can you believe it? Spitting the truth, brah, talking facts, the new hate speech, and I'm going to get canceled. So anyway, we're on a beautiful beach somewhere on the island of Palawan. It's the #1 tourist destination in the Philippines. And last year, Travel Magazine ranked it the most beautiful island in the world. We spent about a week there this winter, and I concur. It's the most beautiful island I've ever been to. It's one of the most beautiful places in the world I've ever been to. I wish I had discovered it earlier, but there's 7,107 islands in the Philippines. I haven't gotten to them all yet, brah. There's over 17,000 islands in Indonesia. Crazy. So anyway, one of the things that disgruntles me when I'm away over there, in any non-white third world country, it's called the skin tax. If you're a white foreigner, which I clearly am when I'm there, the price of everything just goes up a lot of the time. Not always, not always. So there's ways you protect yourself from it. You shop in stores where there's a price tag on items, or if you go into the market where there are no price tags, you let your wife go, or your Filipino girlfriend or Filipino boyfriend, whatever the situation is. If you have a friend that you're there visiting, or if you make a friend, let them do your shopping for you, because when they see you, the price is going up. So we're on this beach, and here comes this Filipino vendor, and he's hawking this necklace, right? Listen, this isn't a real shark tooth, and these are not basalt beads. It's all plastic, and this is from China, right? So the guy's claiming that him and his tribe made this. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, okay. Well, so he tells me where he's from, and he's not from that area. He was from where my wife's from, so he spoke Visayan. So I started talking to him in Visayan, and he was just floored that I understood his language. I was like, dude, I lived here for 6 years. Yeah, I had to learn it, or like be lonely. But the reason I learned it was not so I could talk to everybody. Excuse me. It was so I could understand what was being said around me. Because what was said to you in English is not always the same thing they're saying in Visayan or Tagalog. And there was a lot of terrorists down there in Mindanao, where Dearly's family's from. And I always had to be alert. So he tried to sell me this necklace. And I'm thinking, yeah, it's a 300 pesos necklace, $6, because I know it's plastic from China. So I ask him, how much? He says 600 pesos. I just start laughing. I say, Wala Americano, ako Filipino pila, which means I'm not an American, I'm a Filipino, so how much does it cost? He's 600. He wouldn't budge off 600. Then he starts the, I'm hungry, I haven't eaten all day thing. So I took 100 pesos, and this is only $2, less than $2, and I gave it to him. I said, buddy, go buy something to eat. Go buy some lunch. And listen, you can buy lunch for that over there, okay? So it's not like I was being some prick rich American. No, you can buy lunch for that. My lunches cost that much over there. So I give him 100 pesos, and I say, go buy some lunch. Well, he thanks me, and he goes and he buys some lunch. About an hour later, he comes by again, trying to sell me the same necklace. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to get it for 300 pesos now, because I just bought the dude lunch, right? I said, okay, pila, which means how much? Or that's the sign in Tagalog, it's makano. He says 700 pesos. I'm like, 700 pesos? Last time it was 600. I just bought you lunch and the price went up on me? Well, because that's one of the ugly parts of the culture over there. Kindness is viewed as weakness. And if you're kind, you're stupid. See, and I'm not nice. I am not nice. I used to be nice. Being nice gets you run over and taken advantage of. But I am kind. I'm a good person. Listen, kindness is an action. Anybody can be nice. All those Karens that hold up those signs talking about how hate has no home here, but they hate Donald Trump and everybody that likes him. They're really nice people. Because that's just words. They'll say please and thank you all day. Oh, can I have a refill of my coffee, please and thank you? Well, isn't that nice? But they're biatches in real life. And they're not kind. Kindness is an action. So it was kind of me to buy that guy lunch. So he viewed me as weak because that's part of that culture. So anyway, my wife comes over. I said, hey, honey, this guy's trying to sell me this necklace. I like it. But he's like trying to sell me first 600, then 700. She's like, pag shirt, oi, which means, are you freaking out of your mind? She says, that's like a 300 pesos necklace. I'm like, I know, right? And she says to the guy, I'll give you 300 pesos for it. And he says, okay, because she was a Filipino. Now, when I lived there for 6 years before, and I experienced that activity, and I would have people cuss me out for walking down the street. If they asked me for something, money or whatever, and I just say no. You learn how to say no over there after you lose your shirt. But part of me, there was something inside me that wanted to hate those people. Wanted to hate them for treating me like that because I was different. It was the first time, really, I've ever experienced racism because I'm a white man from Appalachian. I'm a white man who lives in the South now. It was a big aha moment for me. I was like, wow. I totally got why a lot of people in this country who have been discriminated against because of the color of their skin, sexual orientation, gender identification, whatever, are kind of angry because it doesn't feel good to be treated differently because you're different, right? No, I didn't, become so open-minded that my brain fell out, but I kind of started looking at things a little differently, because I had been on the receiving end of it. But listen, I'm going to go back to the beginning and then end with this because this video is going on 40 minutes. If I haven't been canceled from the internet yet, remember this, people. I didn't say you people. Calm down, Karen. Remember this, all of you. It takes as much energy to hate someone as it does to love someone. So I want you to think of the most important person in your world. For me, I've got two of them. It's my beautiful bride, Dearly, a.k.a. Giggly Girl. Wait. Better do it in reverse order. I get canceled for that too. And my son, Daniel. I give them everything, and I would give them everything. There's no way in hell I'm going to give some vendor trying to jack up the price on me, somebody whose political views are different than mine, who's really just toxic and wants to fight, the hay collector from across the road, there's no way I'm giving any of these people. I said these people, not you people. Calm down, Karen. I'm not giving them the same amount of energy that I give my wife and son. And I would ask you to consider that and maybe consider doing the same. And instead of watching the news to see who hates who today, I'm going to draw this egg that I'm going to put in a nest to be hatched by someone that'll love what comes out of it till it learns to fly. Then it can get its own worms. Thanks for being here for this very long video. Hope you got something out of it. See you for more next time. If I don't get canceled for all this hate speech from here at the absolute most awesomest homesteading channel on the entire planet that has absolutely nothing to do with homesteading. Homesteading off the grid.